Welcome to Dude Land. This is another Steve Rude Live. I'm sure you guessed that because I'm obviously alive, as well as coming to you live. We've got a lot of stuff to go over today. But first, you guys are always interested in what is going on artistically with me. Well, let me tell you, let me show you. All this stuff right here, hands, heads, and feet. This is all my homework for today. And I've got to go over it and reacquaint myself with things I've studied for the last 40 years. Also, we've got some pretty cool stuff to show you today by a mystery artist that we're going to be showing coming up in a little bit here. He's one of my favorites from the 1970s, but in fact, I knew his work mostly from the 80s. There was a time when everyone knew about him, and he was one of the best artists that ever got into our field. And he's not the usual people that I talk about. He's literally a class by itself. In the meantime, this is the latest page of Nexus Return to Earth. You can see it's got a very bizarre kind of a layout to it. Normally, I thumbnail everything out, and I have done that my whole life. But the times they are changing here. For some reason, I am very resistant to doing tight pencils. I got stuck doing things that I had to do a lot of whiteout on because of the haste in which I did them. But now I'm becoming settled, finally, at page 33. And I'm really starting to tune into things that I never thought possible when I thumbnail all these out. When I punch the actual page up here, whether I'm going by my thumbnail or not, things come to me in weird ways that I could never anticipate. Like this entire jail cell thing, this jail cell panel here, was completely unexpected. But when I drew it up, I thought, I've got to carry this entire jail cell theme throughout the entire middle of the page here. So it just turned into things at the last minute. I started to draw these things up. So there's no accounting for why this is happening in my life right now. But it is. And I call it the tightrope method of doing comics. I also call it the crisis moment of drawing comics. It really keeps me on my toes, and probably in ways that I kind of need nowadays, having done this for so long. But all I can tell you is the outcome of this experimentation stage is surprising me as much as it is anyone. So, and I'm the artist. So, as you guys know, there's a secret to spotting blacks on pages, and I think you've all seen this before. You can see that Janelli prints me up 4 thumbnails of the page in question, and I start experimenting with where I need to put the blacks. I don't want to overwhelm things with blacks. I don't want to underwhelm things with blacks. I want to have just the right balance. But basically and essentially, it's all about what makes the page read good. So that's that. We're going to go over some of the pages that I'm working on here. This is actually how I start a page right here. And you can see it's penciled in blue pencil, and over that is a regular HB pencil. And that's how I do my work. And you can also see the design of the entire page much easier here than I think when it's finished. And if you go over to page number 2, you can see some of the inking is started here. If we get to number 3, things are becoming more inked. And I'm still trying to get a hold on the inking. I've got about 5 or 6 pen nibs that I'm still trying to work out. And this is not uncommon for me. I'm always having to get my feet wet with the latest things that I've used my whole life, but having to get reacquainted with. And if you look at the 4th page, that's kind of where we left off here. And if you look at the actual original page here, which I'm going to hold up, the reason there's a flap over here is because this drawing is done in pencil, and I want to protect it when I go over the rest of the work here. So this is well started. There's the outline stage, and then there's the the black and white stage, which I'm having just a great time with. Anything that I consider wrong, I adjust it with a little bit of whiteout, and I redraw things. So whiteout is kind of the savior of corrections that don't turn out right the first time. I mean, some of these heads are so tiny that it's easy to go wrong in those. Let's move on to picture number 5. Now, you guys know I'm a man about town, and I've never been to Frank Sinatra's 29 Palms area, but I'm expecting to get invited anytime soon by the current owner of that mansion. Now we're going to get into and reveal the artist that I talked about earlier that I've been really getting into lately. The mystery artist in question is Barry Smith. Now, you guys probably know him as Barry Windsor-Smith, but at the time that we knew him in the 70s and part of the 80s, he was just Barry Smith. So the middle name came later. And so we're going to show you some of the incredible stuff that this guy has done over the years. This is the work of Barry Smith, Barry Windsor-Smith. If you look at number 6, take a look at this guy's work. Now, you can look at every square inch of what this guy has done and come away with a sense of awe. He's an expert in depicting flora. Look at all the different kind of plants and flowers down there. Those are actually real flowers and plants. This is nothing that's made up. His color schemes are beautiful. And if you look over to the side there, at number 6, you can see some of the detail in an up-close shot. And I just look at this guy's work and remain in awe the entire time. If you think this stuff, all this Rococo designing of all these different kind of art styles throughout history, and all the flowers that he puts in, and all the elements and different props he puts into his paintings, you'll see that this guy's work is exceptional. Number 7 is some of the latest work he's done, but that was back in the 90s for Dark Horse. It was Barry Smith's storyteller books. I think there was 9 books in all. These were monthly books, and the fact that Barry could even get this out in the way that he did, there was over 30 some pages in every issue. He had 3 simultaneous strips going on at the same time, and this is like a promo piece for Storyteller. I love his color sense, and I love his inking. It's just so cool. Number 8 is something every good artist does before they actually develop into the actual real painting, the final painting, and that is to do sketches from life. These are no doubt sketches from life. A model posed for these, and if not close, the very costumes themselves that he's depicting here. And this is what we do. We do studies to acquaint ourselves so that the final piece comes off in hopefully an effortless sense of the word. Number 9, I love the peacock. This is a big fat peacock, Barry calls it. And if you look closely at the rendering here, it's just it's mind-blowing. Not only do I love his inking, but his flesh tones are actually gray, and he's got little touches of different colors in there to give it an artistic sense of color that I just love. I love his inking. Look at the inking on the leg. Barry invented that. I've never seen anyone do that before he did, and it is one of my favorite parts of what he does. If you look at that peacock rendering, it's exquisite. It's got all these little linear things going on over the black and white line work. And I believe Barry claims he did a bad knee on the character there and had to put a peacock in front of the knee to disguise the bad knee. Number 10, Barry claims that he doesn't care much about technique or putting on a good veneer on his work to make it look professional, but I kind of don't believe that. His work is so polished. This piece is in gouache, and a great deal of it is gouache, especially in the figure. You can obviously see there. The rest of it is, various grades of watercolor, transparent and opaque. And if you look at the top of this picture here, and you look at the design sense that he's got going on here, whoa. In my lifetime, I'm smart enough to know that I would never try to take on something as complicated as this. And this is standard fare for Barry Smith in his artwork here. But I just love the way this turns out. If you look carefully at all the little things in there, this is a lot more than a fine Waldo kind of affair here. He's got everything going on. Look, and if you want to look at a close-up here, look at number 11. This is a close-up of the lower right-hand part of this particular painting right here. And the rendering and the care that goes into these pieces is mind-blowing. And I don't know if you're like me or not, but I could stare at these things forever, because every detail is in consideration here. Every flower petal, every object is hand-picked for a reason, because it fits into the theme of the picture. The last one we're going to look at here is number 12, and that is a picture that Barry did at his absolute apex of his abilities. He did this at the age of 26. It was done in 1975 when I was still in high school. When we saw this, when all of us saw this, our jaws just dropped open forever. The water alone is worthy of an Oscar itself, but the actual detail in itself, the color scheme, the gesture of the figure, and the rendering and every last thing going on in here, the tree, everything, and the leaves that are scattered because she's being caught in her hair. I don't think there's a guy on earth that can transcend what he did here at the age of 26. Number 13 is a close-up here of the water. And you talk about convincing water. Oh my God. And it's not the standard water that you normally see. It's a very specific kind of low wave kind of water that you see in lakes. And it's got just enough wind motion going on to show you the ripples and how it works. And I have no idea how long it took him to do this, but I would say that's almost immaterial because the work itself is so brilliant. So that's going to cover it for today. And I'm going to go back to inking this page right here because I'm really excited to see how it's going to turn out. And I've also got the thing I showed you earlier where I've got my homework. I've got a lot of pages of hands to look over and reacquaint myself with. Repetition. And doesn't matter how long you've been in this field. That's how you stay. You get good and stay good. And don't forget about the books we have for sale here that I think you're going to like. I think everything we try to do here is specifically aimed and targeted at the people that are fond of this live stream here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week with more cool stuff. And there's always something to talk about. I look forward to more of your letters because they're always fun to read. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Take care.